Everyone, I am so excited to welcome CoCo Jenkins to the Buy My Merch podcast. CoCo's a producer, a looper, bass player, and a founder of There's Nothing to Do in Vegas. CoCo, welcome to the
What's
podcast.
Up? Thank you for having me.
I wanted to have you on for a while. I wanted to start actually with a story about you and There's Nothing to Do in Las Vegas. When I first moved here, I instantly wanted to learn more about the scene, and within like an hour of going on Instagram and looking things up, you were like the first account that I found.
Dope. I love these are my favorite. I'm like getting you now too, because this is my favorite thing to hear.
Yeah. So you were the first account that I found, and also from there I was able to look into other artists, local talents, events, especially just like cool, almost what feels like underground live music events. Your account was a complete resource for that. I just wanted to ask, how does it feel to have over 47,000 fans on that Instagram account now?
It feels that's so funny because, you know, the numbers is like it sounds like a lot to some people. To some people it sounds like a little. You know, it's like that thing where it's like you can't compare. And sometimes I get stuck in that, like comparing. But I'm really grateful to have 47,000 followers organically, like just through word of mouth, through people spreading the word, through us tagging people and letting them know, like, this is what we're doing. And I'm trying to get all those 47,000 people to check out the website, NTDLV.com. So we got the website now, and it has a full calendar. So that way you could plan ahead and like just see what's up more. And also to be independent of Instagram and its algorithm that has been killing me.
Tell me a little bit about what's been going on with that, because I know a lot of musicians relate.
Right. So like from a marketing and from an artist standpoint, the algorithm is who knows? I don't know what it is. I think the only people that know what it is are the people at Instagram. You know how it really works.
Basically.
And like, you know, all I understand is like, you know, a pair of butt cheeks goes so far on Instagram. Some art does not. Some music does not. Flyers, which is what my account was based on, you know, at first when we first started, do not go far. Words do not go far. So I'm really happy to have taken that step to be independent of that, because even with, to me, like, you know, everything is an exchange. There's an energy exchange, you know? So it feels like you're like, I pour my heart into There's Nothing to Do in Vegas because I really care about the music, the artists, the people here. And, you know, it's about events, right? It's an events page, but it's really about helping people find their home. Yep. Like find their home. They're the same weirdos that like the same weird music they're into, that like the same weird scene. And then they can be happy with those people, you know? Yep. So like when I'm, you know, doing this work daily and there's 47,000 followers, but posts have under 100 likes, it feels like the exchange doesn't match up for me. So, yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of musicians, especially, I also work with a lot of independent artists, and when they'll bring me these incredible show flyers or album artwork with a lot of text and stuff, again, fonts and stuff, this is art. This is also art. And this stuff just gets absolutely destroyed in the algorithm. I like to hear you say, you know what, it's not even about us figuring out how to work with Instagram's algorithm. We want to figure out our own platform at this point. Are there, I guess in the meantime, just because Instagram is a tool, are there strategies you've had to adopt for now to get that type of traditional poster stuff out there that has been working, I guess, with their algorithm a little bit?
I don't know. My strategy is just do what we can. You know, it's like I really never know what piece of content will go far. Yeah. You know, the other day I think, to me, like, I think like simple, clean posts work the best. Like one shots have been working really well versus like a year ago or a few years ago, it was like those reels with like like flashing content, you know, like
God.
where you can barely see anything that's happening.
It's just intense. It's like every post is more intense.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of reverted to like shorter, definitely, because you know, first we went through like the 15-second phase, then 30 seconds, then minute phase.
Yeah.
And then it went back to, now we're back to 15 seconds.
Yep.
And I think just like clear, beautiful shots of things have been working really well.
How about platforms like TikTok, I guess X, which was once Twitter? Have you found expanding this particular type of content to those accounts? Has that done anything, or are you still running into the same problems?
Still running into the same problems, especially because they're each their own beast. They have their own algorithms and personalities and like things that they like. So I really have just stuck to Instagram. Yeah. And then my website.
47,000 fans, though. Just that's so impressive.
47,000 people. Please check out NTDLV.com.
Right. For real. It lends itself, like I said, when I was first searching when I got here, it came up right away. And I think it's such a testament to, again, it's not just the things you post sometimes in the account. It's also the people that it's attracting and how, like I said, I found all these artists through it. I guess also I wanted to ask about your philosophy around like a social media schedule and a calendar. So obviously you're a musician, but also running basically your own business. How are you balancing what you post on these platforms and when?
So when I first started There's Nothing to Do in Vegas, I didn't have a smartphone. It was 7 years ago. What's the math on that? 2014, right?
Yeah.
2014?
Yeah, so
that's about 7 years ago.
Yeah, there might not be a lot of smartphones.
Right. Yeah.
Or you know what?
Like,
it's not that. It's that they were not cheap. Like the smartphones are now like $2,000.
At the time, they were like, it was still like you could still function without one. Yeah. And I was determined to function without one. I didn't get a smartphone until 2017 or 2018, and that's because I went to China, and I was like, okay, I probably need a smartphone so I could get around and, you know, do some translations. But I was really like determined to use my little fake Metro PCS BlackBerry. Yep. So I didn't have a smartphone, but my dude at the time, Art, he was like, yo, you gotta do what you're doing. Like, so I was sharing on Facebook, and I actually had a website at that time, and it was just a calendar. And he was like, you got to do this on Instagram. And I was like, I'm not trying to get no Instagram. I'm not trying to be on social media. Like, that's too much. So he set me up with an Instagram.
Oh, wow.
And then he gave me an iPhone that was not connected to service. And that's how I would post on Instagram. So I could only use it when I was on Wi-Fi, connected to Wi-Fi. All of that to say, I feel like that trained me. Like, I trained myself to almost set work hours, do the social media, and then get off my phone. Because it looks like I'm mad active on social media, but I really just do my thing for that time, and then I get off. Because I can't be on there scrolling. Like, I love real life. I love real life. I love making music. I love connecting with people. I love nature. I love shrooming. And you can't be shrooming on the phone. I love.
That sounds kind of scary.
Dog, you don't want to be on electronics. So
absolutely,
I really like set my time and then get off. That's my philosophy.
Get a BlackBerry, people. It's the secret. You know, speaking of just sort of experiences in real life, have you had, or I know you have had, some larger organizations and such reach out to you and want to be putting their stuff on your site? Have you had, throughout the history of Nothing to Do in Vegas, have you had anyone reach out, any cool organizations or partnerships that just stand out to you?
Okay, so today, actually, a couple of days ago, the Biden campaign reached out. The digital marketing media specialist, her name was Chriselle. She had a similar story to you. Like, she came to Vegas, found There's Nothing to Do in Vegas, and utilized that for her own.
I gotta connect with her then. That's really cool.
Personal growth. So those are really my favorite stories of just people letting me know, like, hey, I came, I saw, and I conquered. because you put this information out there. So the Biden campaign hit me up and they wanted me to come through to their Kamala Harris's rally today as a social media influencer. You know, we're pretty, I would say our politics are like neutral left. And by left, I don't mean necessarily democratic left. I mean like subversive underground, like roots left. That's my personal leaning. I try and keep it out of there, but you know, it's also my platform. So it just by the nature of me running it, that's kind of how it goes. So I went in, like, first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because it's like political leaning, but also it's like, no, we're sharing the things that happen in Vegas. And this happened in Vegas. So I was like, so I went, and then I'm like, oh, well, if the Trump admin invited me, would I go? And I would really like try and keep that same, like, we're showcasing what's happening.
This is happening in Vegas.
Right. And it's not to like be on a side or another, but just to show like, hey, this is how it went. This is what happened. I
mean, it's so important at this day and age now. Like, your platform is yours to do what you want to do with it. And I definitely respect even that thought, regardless of your leaning, that you might say, even if there's someone I don't personally fully agree with, from a journalistic standpoint, it's happening here in Vegas. So I actually commend you for that. I think it's a really cool way to be growing the account as well, I guess, without necessarily taking specific stances. So that's just really cool that they reached out too.
For, you know, the presidential candidates campaign to hit me up, like that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, it's going places. No, I'm not surprised, and I'm excited to see what comes of that post too. Well, I wanted to ask a little bit too about the Vegas scene. I feel like you're probably one of the best people to talk to about music in Vegas and performance. So no pressure, but I have a few questions for you. Probably right away, as somebody who was not born and raised here, I want to know your thoughts around some of the bigger misconceptions you've heard about live entertainment here in Vegas that you just really don't agree with or have a very different opinion about. The thing is, in the name itself, there's nothing to do in Vegas. So you could put in there, one of the other things that people say is there's no music scene in Vegas. I'll go specifically to hip hop because that's my home scene. And yeah, people come here and there's no hip hop scene. It's just not true. There is hip hop here. It lives here. It thrives here. Well, I don't know about thrives, but it's here. You know what I'm saying? So I think the number one misconception is that people think that original music doesn't exist here, and it really does. It's just hard to find, which is why I created the platform. Absolutely. Is there any sort of venues, organizations, showcases that you would sort of point someone to if they said, okay, you know, I believe you about music here, but show me where to go? Are there a couple like starting points that you would want to start them at? Well, for live music specifically, there's a newish venue that opened downtown called Fat Cat. They are inside the Downtown Grand. It's independent of the Downtown Grand. It's its own owners. They also own a bar called Red Dwarf. Okay. Which is like, Red Dwarf is more like, I would say, rockabilly, rock and roll type vibes. And they have Detroit pizza there. So it's like Detroit rock and roll type vibes right there. Fat Cat is like jazz, is more like cool. Jazz club vibes. So, and you can go there, I believe 6, maybe 7 nights a week now, and you can go there and hear live music. Wow. Let's see, some other spots. It's like the thing about Vegas is you kind of have to know like what days are what. For whatever reason, like I've kept this register of what days are what in my head, you know, like Mondays it used to be you could see the Santa Fe City Fat Horns at the Palms. That doesn't happen anymore. But it also used to be like every Wednesday was the Funk Jam, where like the illest musicians in town would come together and just like improv, funk, jam, nasty, funky, nasty. I'm hearing a lot of used to though. Has things changed? Things changed after COVID. Okay. Things
That's a bummer.
Things changed after COVID, and they're still getting back to like things being regular. I feel like so. Yeah, after COVID, I feel like, you know, a lot of 24-hour spots are no longer 24 hours. A lot of late night spots are no longer late night. I mean, even Walmart is not 24 hours anymore, you know, like, so the weeklies and the monthlies, those also kind of fell off too, just due to the nature of COVID. So I think things are starting to get back and get established again, where things are happening like consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just been the biggest bummer, I think, of especially starting this podcast where I've wanted to travel around. I'm hearing a lot of, we used to do this, or this big thing used to happen here. Now it's very different. You know, I guess it'd be really cool to ask you from the lens specifically of a rapper or a hip hop artist, or even a producer. Where might you tell them if they moved to Vegas and they have original music? Where could they go in those genres specifically?
Okay, so like tomorrow night, DJ Shakespeare hosts every last Saturday of the month a hip hop night at Ninja Karaoke, which is also hip hop owned by B-Boy Steve, who is from Knucklehead Zoo and Super Crew, which from America's Next Best Dance Crew. So it's like all that lineage. But DJ Shakespeare has been holding down, I would say, like, what would you call them, like trap rap scene? He's been holding it down for that scene for a long time.
Very cool.
So if you have like that specific style of production or rapping or even singing that's like in that lane, he hosts that. Shouts out Shakes. We used to throw taco battles in the back of Beauty Bar, which is no longer. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, and again, this is just walking proof that you've got to check out NTDLV.com. It's just, again, I feel like any genre I could give you, any type of scene, this is the space to be finding it out. I hope every city has something like this. It's very cool that you've started it here.
The dream is to expand to other cities.
Okay.
So if anybody, for me, it's like I need the CoCo of that city. I need the CoCo that knows in that city, like all the little spots, all the little secrets, because it's just literally nobody can do what I do here. Nobody can do it. It's just like years of knowledge and relationships and going out and going to see things and meet people and not being afraid to, like, you know, dip my toe into a scene I know nothing about, and meeting the people there so that I can learn a little bit about it. It's like literally like just so much like footwork and heart. So that's the type of people I need if I'm, you know.
CoCo in every city.
In every city,
there's a business model right there. It's in there somewhere. I love that. You know, I wanted to ask you too, as you considering yourself pretty much a Las Vegas native, what are some of your early memories of the music scene here in Vegas or the surrounding parts of Vegas?
So I actually grew up in Henderson, Old Hendo, H-Town. Shouts out H-Town. I went to LVA for a year, but then I went back to my home school, which is basic high school. And when I was first coming up, for whatever reason, I was chilling with ska kids. So I would go to the ska house shows, which will be at Stefano's house, who's still active in the scene.
Wow.
You know, Pulsar. I think Pulsar was definitely around then. One of my favorite bands of all time is called Goldfish Don't Bounce. And they would play, you know, they would do all ages shows at like the Rock and Java and the Castle. And there would be shows at the Roadrunner. And you know, I would hear about the shows in Vegas, like at the Huntridge, which was like it was like right before my time. The last show at the Huntridge was the Beastie Boys $2 ticket show. Do you remember that show? $2 ticket on MTV.
Not specifically, but I've heard a lot about the Huntridge. I've actually heard a lot, even before I got here. It's a pretty storied place. Probably all kinds of cool people came through there.
All genres, you know, from like No Doubt to Onyx to...
Oh, that's so cool.
To, like I said, Beastie Boys. So you don't remember $2 ticket, though? It was on MTV.
I think I do. Okay, I definitely remember Beastie Boys on MTV.
Okay, so right. So they had the last show at the Huntridge was a $2 ticket Beastie Boys show.
Wow.
And I think I was 16. I don't know. I just remember I had to ask my mom to take me and my friend. Like, I begged her to take us to go get that $2 ticket, and by the time we got there, it was way too late. It was just there. She didn't have any sense of urgency about it. No. So we missed that show. But there was also really dope festivals at that time. Like, Extreme Thing was happening in a really dope way, which was a festival that 1075 put on. So it was like skating and like BMX mixed with what type of bands? Like, I was like metal and punk type bands.
Nice.
And that happened over at Desert Breeze Park. Yeah, that's the fudge. Okay, 98.5 would throw the summer jams. And actually my first concert here was a summer jam, and the lineup was like, I just remember Cisco. I just remember Cisco being on the lineup, and I was 11, and I was begging my mom to let me go by myself. And of course she wouldn't, because she's a great mom. Thanks, Mom, for not letting me go to that show by myself. But yeah, I went, and that was my first experience like at a concert. But it was one of those summer jams where I bet you the tickets were like, like under $20 or something for like a full line of all the illest stars like at that time,
I mean, having grown up in that, I do kind of want to ask you, what are your thoughts of these, what feel to me as very corporate festivals popping up? Probably you know what I'm talking about. Don't even have to name them, but like it's over in the festival grounds area. We've seen them a lot. Are they making an effort to bring local talent in? I know Life is Beautiful had, but are you feeling that they're embracing
Not at all
the local scene?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I feel like that stems also from like the casinos and entertainment that happens here too.
Yeah.
And in the casinos, like there'll be certain venues that try or that, bring in local talent, but they're not paying what artists deserve, what dope artists deserve. And I feel like, even putting that like local tag on it, like diminishes it for them, or they make it feel like they don't have to respect the craft as much because it's like local artists. But dog, some of the illest talent comes from this city. We are literally the entertainment capital of the world. So to me, it's like crazy that there's not more of an investment in our music scene from the places that host entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, it's even from expanding out of festivals, it's also the Strip. It's that misconception, again, somebody who's not from here, where I moved here thinking, oh, it's just they're only bringing in this, like, it has to be from, like, literally imported from other cities to come perform at these casinos. And that really pushed out of my mind that there must be a whole scene here. And then sure enough, as I've started to go to a lot of these venues, I've been blown away. I mean, just blown away. Super talented. I went to a showcase at Taverna Castera a couple weeks ago. Just some little, like, out in the courtyard, all local talent. I was like, wow. I mean, these could easily have been at, like, up on Where We Were Young Fest. Like, it's just, it's a little sad to me. I'm like, it doesn't encourage me as a local to even want to go to those big festivals if it's bands that I would see when I'm going through LA anyway. Like, it's not.
It's even like Brooklyn Bowl used to be pretty welcoming of local artists, but they are now, I believe they're a Live Nation or Goldenvoice venue. Yep. So, that just makes it like, it just makes the red tape like mad thicker to where, you can't. It used to be like, I used to have a connect there and I'd be like, yo, hey, this person would be dope for this show. I would be dope for this show. This band would be dope. And they would consider it. Now it's like, there's none of that.
Ugh. It makes me sad. I've been to Brooklyn Bowl too, but it's very, very corporatized. As in, I'm really only recognizing bands that are coming from somewhere else through as a tour, which is part of a local gig economy. But again, I'm just so happy that you and this program, everything exists here, because I think it's a city that it needs this. It needs people to realize when you come here. I think the other big thing I just wanted to say is I didn't know anything about the arts district before I got here. And sure enough, most of my time now, I'd rather be going out in the arts district area. And when you come here as a visitor and a tourist, it's a shame that, a stone's throw away is actually like just very relaxed, cool local vibes that aren't crazy strip vibes. People don't even know. And again, that's why.
That's
the
why.
Sweet Cocos.
NTDLV.com. Check it out, whether you're here or out of town.
Well, you know, it's amazing to hear a lot about your perspective as a music fan here in town, but also I want to talk a little bit about you as a musician. So production, looping, playing bass, having your own music. Tell me a little bit about why you were drawn to so many different aspects of the industry as a performer.
Okay. Well, it all started when I actually started. I'm also a cellist. I started playing cello here in CCSD, Clark County School District, in 6th grade when, you know, you got to choose your elective. And I started playing cello because I really wanted to play bass, but someone told me it wasn't for girls. So I picked the next biggest instrument, which was the cello. I knew I didn't want the little tiny violin. I knew I didn't want to hear that or play that. And I was like, all right, cello seems cool. So I started playing cello. And then in high school, I was like, wait, I want to play bass still. So then I started playing bass. And then once I graduated high school, I started playing in this hip hop band called Rhyme and Rhythm. And that's kind of where I really got my feet wet, like in the scene as an artist and as a musician. And now I would go to like Goldfish Don't Bounce shows or Holding on to Sound shows or, any of the Macro-Fi shows. And now people would start to see me as an artist versus just like the girl that would go to these shows. So that was pretty cool. That was a cool little transition. But so I started playing bass with Rhyme and Rhythm. We opened for so many people. We were together for 8 years. It was a 7-piece ensemble, 4 MCs, drums, bass, keys.
Awesome.
And we opened it was a whole spectrum. Snoop Dogg, T.I., 311, Ziggy Marley.
That here in town, or were you on tour with them?
Here in town.
Wow.
Yeah, we would open. Yeah, we would open for all these dope artists. That doesn't really happen anymore.
That's so sad.
For local artists.
That's one of the coolest parts of local music scenes anyway, is someone comes through and a huge band could give you their opening stage.
Yeah.
Not happening
That really
as much?
doesn't happen anymore.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it till you put it in that perspective. But so once we broke up, I was still playing bass and I would play with other people. I met a really dope MC named Amisa, now named Amisa Fuego. She went by Nat the Lioness at the time. And I found her online on this show called Cypher Effect. And I just thought she was the illest MC. And I went to go find her in Long Beach and be like, hey, dog, we need to make music together. So she moved out here and we now make music together. I play cello or bass or do loops, and then she raps her illest raps. But even all those projects, like, they still weren't at the time, like, they were dope, but they didn't make me feel how I needed to feel about my artistry. Yeah. Like, they were really amazing to other people, but like to me, I was like, I don't know. I just, it wasn't it. And it wasn't until 2020 that I started like really, really looping and really like building beats that way. And because we couldn't play with other people, we couldn't connect with other musicians. I'm a bass player, like, and I'm not a solo bass player. I'm not no Flea. I'm not no no Stanley Clark or Charles Mingus. I play bass in a band. Yeah. But we couldn't play with other people. So then I started playing with myself. With my looper. I started playing with myself with my looper. I wanted to make my own music, and I wanted to produce, the way I saw others produce, which is using a DAW, a digital audio workspace. I
say DAW, but I'm sure someone will correct us somewhere. I think it's DAW.
I think it's DAW too. I just say the whole thing because I'm like, how do you say that? But so I got Ableton, and I did not understand it at all. Yeah. It looked like throw up on the screen to me. And people kept trying to show me, and they're like, no, it's easy. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I come from instruments. So all of like the buttons and stuff and the screen, it just didn't make sense. But the looper made sense to me because it's like play, stop, Those are the buttons.
Yep.
You plug it in, you play stop. If you mess up, you go back and fix it. You don't like adjust any little things, like, you know. So that's how I started looping. And then later I started teaching middle school orchestra. So I became a middle school orchestra teacher, which is actually what I went to college for. I just didn't start until later. Until my late 20s.
Conducting as well? So
yeah. Conducting. I'm teaching the kids. I'm bringing it up. All the things. Yeah.
That's everything. That's everything. I was a drum major in high school, and I don't know what it is in all of my music journey, but I still, like, to this day, like, that to me is what it's all about. I've always, like, somewhere in another life, I'm a conductor somewhere.
That's dope. Well, in that part of my journey, like, I just always try and do me everywhere I go. I mean, I always got to do me everywhere I go. And while I love teaching orchestra, I'm really a hip hop head. So fortunately, my admin at Mac Middle School, shouts out Mac, they were down for me to create this like hip hop class, this hip hop elective. And one year I was able to get them to purchase this program called Soundtrap, which is a DAW. But I feel like it's like really made for like students and for learning. So I was showing my kids how to make beats on there, but I had to learn it myself. So then that's how I started making beats on a DAW. So that's where my latest project, Coco's Krispies, comes from, is from Soundtrap.
So I guess that at high school level.
Middle school.
Or middle school level, you are... Is it Ms.? Like, you are a teacher. You're actually a teacher. Yeah. You're still doing that?
Miss CoCo. No, I quit 2 years ago, so I could do the website and my music.
Very cool. So this is a full-time thing for you now.
This is full-time now.
That is
full-time.
Just awesome.
This, full-time music. And fortunately, like, out of all those things that you mentioned, I know I told you like, no, not DJ, but DJing is actually what probably pays me the most now as an artist, musician. And I'm really grateful because I'm still pretty new as a DJ. As a hip hop head, I was even like reluctant to claim the title DJ.
Yeah.
But I should have been. All my mixtapes were the illest when I was growing up. You know, the mix CDs that I would make for parties. I would get to the party. Everybody would just be chilling. I'd be like, put on my mix CD. And then now the party's jumping. So I should have been DJing. But I'm DJing now, and I'm really grateful because all the gigs that I've gotten so far, or all the gigs I get to play what I would play. I get to play what I really love. I'm not doing like corporate commercial. I'm not doing any of that. I really get to like play a dope blend of what I think people know and are comfortable with, while blending it in with stuff that they didn't know that they want to know. Yeah.
Wow. How are you typically getting gigs here in town now as billing yourself as a DJ?
This city is a who you know city. And fortunately, through my whole music journey, I've been blessed to have relationships where people trust me. And I tell people, hey, I'm DJing now. And they're like, okay, come through. And they just trust that I know what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to had mentors and homies that DJ that were patient with me and showed me. I took DJ Kelly J's DJ class over at UNLV. You know, I've had help from DJs across all genres that are down to like sit with me and work with me. And, you know, I've really been able to bring that into, I wouldn't say like, I'm definitely not a master of the craft, but I'm masterful at what I'm doing in DJing and the blending and mixing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I'm so grateful, yo.
Are you playing bass at any of these gigs?
No, I'm not.
Not right now.
Not right now. But
even cello, not yet.
That would be dope. No, but I do work with other musicians. So like, I work with a percussionist that'll do, that he'll play like djembe, and I'm gonna be working with a violinist soon. And my favorite part is that I get to also throw in my music when I DJ, and I definitely do that. Yeah.
So Heads on TV has a lot of producers that follow my social accounts, and I do get asked a lot how a producer who has beats that don't already have an amazing melody over them, how can they market their beats online? I wanted to ask you, as someone with beats that I found on your Bandcamp, like you can download them, how are you marketing your beats?
I honestly just started putting money into my post like last month, and that has boosted the attention to my music like tenfold.
On Instagram?
On Instagram. I created a visual. I would say create visuals for your music and boost those. They really push it out beyond the algorithm or whatever. It has really brought a lot of attention to my page and my music. But I would honestly, like, if someone, my first piece of advice would be to go out into the real world. Honestly, for me, that's what works for me. I know that you can connect with people and connect with platforms online and get stuff out there, but it's like if people don't care about you, they're not gonna listen to what you have. So if people don't know you enough to care about what, it's like, you know, when you see like if you're on X or Twitter, if you're on Twitter X and someone's like, hey, I just dropped music, you keep scrolling. Like, why are you going to play it? You don't know them. The artwork might be cool, but it's just, you know, there's so much out there that you're probably not going to click on it. So to me, I would recommend to producers to go out into the real world, go into those shows, go to DJ Shakespeare's show, you know, like go to, catch rap shows with artists and go support and find those people that you like there and talk to them.
I love that. I also want to ask about the boosting, actually. Are you comfortable sharing like one or two of your tips specifically for boosting? Because I definitely agree with you on in-person and networking, but I'm fascinated actually to hear you say that that's been really beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. So just curious about your tips for boosting posts.
Well, I know I know my brand, CoCo Jenkins. So I know like people want to see me. They want to see me, you know, pressing buttons or whatever. But actually for the one post that I boosted, I put together a dope visual with the help of a friend, Rodrigo, which is, it's like me and some flowers and the music behind it. And it was cool, but the thing that really set it off was the words on top of the visual. So like really like creating some kinds of pull or draw. So this one specifically says like POV, you found your new favorite meditation music, you know, and I made a little thing that walks people through breathing in and out. And that's the one that's been hitting. Like people get it. Wow. You know, there has to be a catch. There has to be a catch. It can't just be like cute or pretty for people to be interested, because they don't know you. They do not care about you. Why? You got to make them care. And maybe it's not about you, but maybe like I know people who like to meditate, and I know that, you know, that the beat that I have playing on it is like, it's a hip hop beat. It's like a meditation beat, but it knocks, you know?
Yes.
Like that's why I made it like that.
Wow. For someone who said, you know, you're not that big on social media in terms of like wanting to be on it, you are, I don't think I could have said that better myself. You are an expert, what I'm hearing here. It's just, I really struggle sometimes to articulate what you're saying of you got to make people care. I think, again, a lot of the artists I work with, it's when I'm trying to explain that your personality is the handshake first. That's sometimes hard on social media, but I like that you found a way to not necessarily have to lean into your personality, but instead something that person who gets the ad might be interested in, and tying it back to your music. I think that's actually a really nice way around
having to put your whole personality. Self. That's a good point, because it's to me, it's like easier to remain a little more neutral online. But, you know, people like provocative. They really do. But I don't, like, some things to me are sacred. You know, like I don't always want to be sharing all that information about myself to everybody, but I get it. I know that's how people connect. So yeah, finding like something else that will help people connect that's not you but people can connect to. Yeah, that's
It's great advice. I'm just echoing what you were just
thank
saying.
you, but you packaged it up though.
We put it together.
You put it
you
together.
Go, guys.
You're welcome.
That's the tip. Amazing. Well, I have just some other questions too. I wanted to ask a couple philosophicals in the sense of like thinking about your artist journey. You've accomplished so much already. I always like to ask if there's something that you wish you could be doing right now or wish you had also accomplished as an artist, but you're not quite there yet. If there's something like that, and are you taking any steps to get there if there is something that you really want?
You know, I haven't put out my own album, and I have some amazing songs. I have some amazing music, and I think it's happening. I literally just talked to my OG, my homie Olmeca, who, if anybody knows, is the lineage is Project Blowed, Acid Rain. That's West Coast underground hip hop. That's Lamert Park, which is like Lamert Park. Who comes out of Lamert Park is Doja Cat, is Thundercat, those are the ones off the top of my head. But there's a whole like lineage of music that comes from Lamert Park, which is like a black centric area in LA.
Yeah.
Anyways, my OG Olmeca, who also comes from that lineage, I was just talking to him yesterday about how for my birthday, which is July 25th.
Happy early birthday when
Thank
we're filming
you.
this.
Oftentimes, I've thrown an event called Coachella, which I actually got a cease and desist for twice from Goldenvoice.
No way. Well, then it had to have been a pretty decent sized event if Goldenvoice is coming through saying no.
They're haters, though. I mean, yes, it was a decent sized event, but come on, like nobody's threatening the integrity of your festival. And actually, the last time they reached out with a cease and desist, I was like, well, would you guys want to maybe work together? That's what I wrote them back. Maybe you guys would be interested in supporting an independent musical artistic endeavor.
Yeah.
That is in homage to what you guys have created. But nah, they wasn't having that. They were like, it's like $10,000 to buy the rights to use the name or something like that.
You know, I just have to say, intimidation tactics are a real thing. And I know that you're smart and connected and probably were like, you know, to some extent, what I'm getting at is like, to some extent, those aren't always fully legit. It's like they know they can scare certain people into not doing things, not referencing things, but there's parody law. There's a lot there that I think they just were trying to play around and get you to stop doing it.
That's their thing though. They've shut down Coachella, which in DC. I think they shut down Afrochella. They're really about it.
Coachella's
like, they don't
the
like
name
that.
of like a town in a valley
it's a town.
too.
It's the name.
I'm just saying. Well, that's awful. Did you do the event but named it something else?
Yeah, the first year. And the first year we
else.
had to change it because it was at Brooklyn Bowl when Brooklyn Bowl was accepting local artists. And we were my band at that time and hosting Coachella there. That was one of the like first, I want to say that's the first headlining like locals only show that was at Brooklyn Bowl was Coachella. But because it was there and they're a legit venue, they were like, hey, you guys got to change it. They got rid of all the signage, like everything. So that year I changed it to the Cocoa Butter and Jam. And then...
It's kind of a cute name too, though.
It's cute, right?
I kind of like that better.
It's cute. And then 2 years ago, I had it at Ferguson's downtown. And I changed it to Coco Fest.
Okay. Coco's a fun sort of name to throw on all of the fests anyway. So I like it. Mm-hmm. I like that pivot.
What was the original question?
Well, this was a good aside, though, because at one point in this interview, I was like, I want to ask her, too, like, are you interested in events and showcases specifically through NTDLV? So I know there's CoCo branded stuff, but are you eventually going to have, like, I would love to come to a locals showcase of...
We did have one that we started maybe the year after COVID hit, and it was called Vegas Mondays, Mondaze, and it was on a Monday. That was an homage to a human experience open mic. Have you ever heard of that?
I think so.
It was downtown, and it was like, to me, that was like the catalyst to a lot of original art and art community connections in Las Vegas.
Open mic style?
Happened human experience because it was open to everybody. It literally happens every Monday. And you could go there, share your art. But people would be inside doing poetry or sharing. But then also people would be outside ciphering. And then also people would be in the back just having conversations. So it was just a hub to meet and greet like artists and musicians of all kinds.
I'm hearing past tense. It's gone, isn't it?
It's gone, dog. It's gone,
Well,
gone.
I know
There's a restaurant
somewhere
there
that we could get something like that. I do think that that should absolutely be a big next step for you, and that I think this could be big.
We did do the Monday showcases, but funding is the
There's no way that one of these local casinos with like the smaller, those cool 100 cap venues inside, this is like, I don't know. That's just, I'm kind of sad to hear that, actually, that especially you. I actually thought you might come to this interview and say, oh, I've been hit up by tons of local casinos, and like we're always wide open door to come in and like do a cool showcase.
That's funny.
That sounds like a huge missed opportunity on their part. You are local. You've been here a long, long time. Your music has lived here a long time. I wanted to ask how the community has kind of shown up for you. Obviously, we talked followers and all the numbers, but I mean, how has the community made Vegas a place that you're like, this is where CoCo's world is going to stay?
Yo, Vegas and music, I would say, I mean, Vegas specifically, I know you asked, but music community in general just shows me so much love. They definitely show up for me. I'm talking like, okay, one like really bad time was my first time setting up an event, like Ghost Bar or something inside the Palms.
Okay.
Very corporate. At that time, a woman named DJ 88 who worked at Insert Coins, who DJ'd at Insert Coins, which was another dope venue downtown. She asked me to help her put together a lineup of musicians that would perform like 90s R&B covers, but like in a really dope way, and then get 2 dope singers. And she hit me up because she knew I knew all the dopest musicians in town. So I hit up these dopest musicians in town, and I put together this really great band of musicians with 2 amazing singers. One is Jasenia, who sings in Empire Records, which is a 90s, more like 90s alternative cover band.
Cool.
They've been doing their thing for years. And then another amazing singer named Trice B, that's fam. And I put together these dope musicians. I didn't know that I needed to ask for sound. I thought the venue would have their own sound, but it's not a live music venue.
Yeah.
So they didn't have anything.
Oh.
And that day, all of the gear was being used in the casino or whatever. Dog, I was sweating. DJ 88, she's a very intense lady, very scary to me at the time. I was early 20s or mid to whatever, and like she was like, where's the stuff? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't. Anyways, at that time, I hit up like 2 homies. Within the hour, they came through, brought all the gear, set it up.
That's awesome.
For the love. And there's been, a couple situations like that where people just come through. I had a Coachella backyard edition, backyard like punky reggae party edition, where I put together a couple musicians to do my favorite like roots reggae songs.
Wow.
I played bass, and I just grabbed a couple musicians and a couple singers, and this was like 2 weeks before my birthday. And I was like, hey, I want to do this. Are you guys down? They were all down, all came through, all came to rehearsals. And then we played the show for my birthday party just because I asked. And I'm really grateful that people come through for me like that. When me and my homegirl, Amisa, when we formed our group, we were still pretty brand new. But KRS-One was coming through to Beauty Bar. And I asked the homie asked if I knew anybody that would want to open, and I said, me and my homegirl have an act. He never heard us before, but just based off of, you know, based off of what I've built here and what I, you know, the art that he's seen me make before, he was like, sure, and put us opening for KRS-One. Like, no demo, no nothing, you know, like, so I'm really just grateful for the trust that people have in me and the way people come through. You know, that's really what community's about. I got one more story like that.
Please.
One year, my cello got stolen out of the trunk of my car. Never recovered it. And one dude who actually I thought of when you were telling me about how you utilize the page.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dude named One Track Mind, and he always accredits Nothing to Do LV with how he got his start as a photographer, videographer here in Vegas. And trust me, he's mad talented, but you know, he moved here new. And he used the page to scale himself up. And now he, like, one of the last big gigs I know he did was, like, he shot Cardi B at the Palms. Like, he was specifically, you know, like, so.
All through you and this idea.
One thing he did for me when I lost my cello was he put together a GoFundMe. Oh. And that GoFundMe was funded in, like, a day or two to get me a new cello.
Wow.
So, yeah, mad grateful.
When was this? Was this fairly recent?
This had to be like 2010s, 20 something, like 15 or something, maybe 16.
People need to stop stealing instruments. Like, listen, we break in, maybe we like need like whatever, but I'm saying like an instrument, like that's someone's child, essentially.
Yes, I was gonna say baby. Yes,
these stories like are gut wrenching when I hear them, because it's not about let me go to Guitar Center and replace it. This is right. It's not history. How this works.
It's history. It's like the blood, sweat, and tears. It's like the little, you know, like
give
all the
CoCo
little
her cello back. Oh my God. Well, this has just been so much fun. I feel like I talked to you for like 3 more hours. I have one more wild card question I want to throw at you for this interview. And I was like, I know that the NTDLV is all about events and experiences in Vegas, but if you had to give me one, maybe 2 local food spots that are just very off the radar that people might be mad that you're spilling the secrets on for the fans that you should definitely check out if you are in Las Vegas, straight from CoCo Jenkins, what would you say?
All right. Shouts out to Giselle, who runs the Nothing to Do LV Eats page.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from the sponsored by NTDLV Eats.
Yes.
There's an Instagram account for this.
Okay, one of my favorite spots to get Korean fried chicken is Q Bistro. And actually, my favorite thing to do is go next door to Karaoke Q. Go rent yourself a room, you and a couple friends, and you can order in the karaoke bar. And you can order these fried Korean fried chicken wings. And they're some of the best chicken wings I've ever had. That's one of my favorite things.
How about like desserts? So that's a good savory one. How about something sweet?
Desserts. Ooh, I love desserts. Oh, okay. I'll say my favorite dessert is one of my favorite desserts in town is at Cornish Pasty. They have a sticky toffee pudding. It's not what it sounds like. I don't like pudding. I don't like toffee. Sticky. Yeah, but the sticky toffee pudding, Cornish Pasty. They also have, sometimes I'll switch it up with the banoffee pie. You know what I'm talking about?
Making me hungry.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
Toffee's a weird one. I'm the same way as you, where I was like, I can't touch it. But if it's somehow made in like a beautiful dessert, I'm like the biggest toffee fan. But then I won't have it again for like 3 years. So I have to try it, knowing that you said that's the one.
Sometimes I go to Cornish Pasty just for that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
thanks for asking that. That was fun to answer. Also, shouts out Fuku Burger, my favorite burger.
Are there any food truck hotspots here in town? Areas that people line up for? I know in LA there's a lot of that.
I'm going to do another used to you. There used to be this event called Vegas Streets that happened on the little area across from the El Cortez. It's on 6th Street, and then there's like a little like weird parking lot that's was valet only. I don't know how it works now. But yeah, they used to shut that down and have food trucks and have live, mostly hip hop performances. That was thrown by Civilian Crew, Kids in the Attic. That's some like OG Vegas stuff they used to do. Sunday events too. But yeah, Vegas Streets was like the spot for when like the food trucks were really happening. But these days I'm not too up on the food truck game. But I know one day, I don't know if that fool's still there. One day I was just walking on Charleston and this fool had a whole like grill set up. New York barbecue grilled. I think that dude's name is Toby. He's also a musician.
Oh, cool.
No
food
but he
truck,
was just
out
there grilling, dog, and I had to stop. I had to go get some of that chicken, and it was bomb.
Oh my gosh. It's NTDLV Eats. It's a whole Instagram account.
Yeah, that's Nothing to Do LV Eats.
So keep an eye there.
Everything's connected on the Instagram, Nothing to Do LV and NTDLV.com. There's a lot of resources on there too, besides the calendar, where you can find a list of live music venues, places to buy cool stuff, art galleries, stuff like that. It's a really dope page, and I can't wait till like people understand the resource that it is. So tap in.
CoCo, I'm so honored that you came on the podcast. You were someone I wanted as like a dream Vegas guest, and you're sitting on my couch right now. So this is amazing. Also, as another woman owning your own business, this is just insanely impressive, and I cannot wait. Obviously, I live here, so I get to take full advantage of all that you post about and all these cool events. But if you are a musician, you know, a lot of me doing this season in Vegas and in other cities is I was always curious as an artist. Like, I've heard of LA, I've heard of New York, yes, but what about these pockets of other places? And CoCo said something awesome where she said, you know, I hope there's more of me in other cities. CoCo's the one to talk to, the NTDLV account. If you're going to come to Vegas, this is a great resource if you have original music, if you want to meet a scene. And I hope that your story inspires more CoCos in other cities, because I just think this is a awesome idea.
And if you are a CoCo in another city, let's connect, let's build, let's make these networks so that, you know, we can do it ourselves. It's hard. DIY is hard. Independent is hard, but it's also like so rewarding and so fun. And when it pops off, like I'm really excited for all of us to make it in this way, because we like. The music industry is on some other stuff, but we're not. We're just on dope music, dope art.
Look local wherever you are. If you can't get to Vegas, LA, it doesn't matter. Just look around where you're at. And I think that's the CoCo motto. Coachella, CoCo, was it CoCo and butter? What was it?
CoCo butter and jam.
I'm just going to have fun for the rest of this. I'm just going to be making CoCo names for CoCo. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Yo. So appreciated.
Yeah.
Love it having you here.
Much love, y'all.
Yay.